Alright, so we're looking at second lesson now, in which I was the lead teacher.
All right, so first of all, describe the situation of your lesson.
We had an even number, it was 14 students. We started out because there was someone in the gym before us. We weren't able to set up as early, and in order not to waste that 5 minutes, we sent them on a little fitness run around the driveway, what they call it. It's basically like a lap of the field. And then moving on, we had the students set up, help us set up, and then get to playing right away. Moved on, started playing the castle game, space adapt, everything seemed to go okay.
Explain what you intended to happen in your lesson.
So for this lesson, we really wanted to reiterate what Evan started with our first lesson. So for castle game, we really had them focus on time, whether they were hitting it up high enough to recover into their position, and their base, which was we went over the jump step, so they were easily able to move around in a circle around the castle game, around the spot. And another thing that happened in that one was we wanted them to be able to read their opponent. So one thing that helped them make it a little more successful was if they were just kind of not moving, we really wanted to make sure they were kind of mirroring their opponent's movements, so that they were always opposite and had more time and were better placed in order to receive the ball and hit it back, trying to aim for the spot.
Yeah, interesting about the castle game was when we started that out, they figured out really quickly that if they didn't hit it, we didn't exactly specify right away if it was above head. So they were hitting it about a foot off the ground and just having so much success. So
yes,
we really had to reiterate the ball must go above your head. And once we did that, there was a movement all over the place, which was great to see.
And some of them kind of took it a little bit too far in the other direction. They were hitting it way too high. So once we were able to get most of them started and playing successfully, we were able to give feedback to those who were not so successful and able to tell them, if you really aim for the spot as opposed to just trying to hit it as high as you can, and if you're staying so that the spot is in front of you at all times and kind of sidestepping around so that you're staying opposite of your partner, really creates a lot more successful environment. And I think they really found that. They were really receptive of our feedback, which was great.
So, Rich, how did your actions as a teacher promote learning environment with, for example, feedback?
The feedback was a big one. Instead of telling the kids what to do, we kind of went in the direction of guided discovery. So, especially in the castle game, when things weren't working out for them or when they weren't being as successful as they would have liked or we would have liked, we posed them with questions like, how can you make this better, or why are you having issues with this, and letting them come up with their own understanding of what they can do to make things better. So this way that they have to actually understand what they need to do and why, instead of just doing what we tell them to and having them not understand why this strategy works for them and just doing it because we said so. So I think that was really important, and we were able to move that into the Space Adapt game really nicely. So they were understanding why they needed to face their opponent and read their opponent and have a better opportunity in order to kind of outwit their opponent by using the tactical concepts that we placed forward for them.
Okay, Rach, what did the students learn?
We really wanted to reiterate what they learned in the first lesson. So we went over space and time and base in different environments. They had to adapt and refocus it and make sure that they really understood what they learned the first day. And moving into that, we gave them a competitive environment in order to see if they could put those concepts into play while facing an opponent. And from that, we used it to segue into giving them the boundaries and the rules and having a greater understanding of how to score and when the stop scoring, start scoring in play, and stop and restart rules. So that was a really good segue into that, giving them the competitive, because these kids love the competitiveness. So by giving them the rules, it kind of took away from them, saying, oh, that was in, that wasn't in. Now they know. We've given them the strategies and the tools in order to be able to play these games properly.
How do you know learning happened?
So in regards to the social domains, or the learning domains, we use the affective and social kind of when introducing the competitive aspect. So they had to work together, but playing each other, so it's a bit of a crossover between the two. And we really focused on a cognitive when introducing the rules and the boundaries, asking them to understand. Basically, this was one where we just had to tell them instead of a guided discovery. We just told them, and they had to understand what we were telling them about the rules in order to be able to properly play the game. And they also, sorry before we end, they also were doing really well in using what we told them the day before and building, and they did seem to improve. Even by the second day, we'd already seen improvement of how they can rally, so that's another good way of learning happen. They're better at the skills that we first introduced. So an overall reflection of the lesson, I thought it went well, but I also felt like there was things I can improve on, and I think a lot of it will just come from being comfortable in an environment that I'm responsible for things. One of the things that I had a lot of issue with was I got a little bit flustered when I hadn't thought about referring to these two by their last names. So I struggled a little bit. I mean, it could be because they're both F names, Fryer and Howells. I kept saying their last name and then their first name the next time and correcting myself, which seemed to get me a little bit off topic, but I'm hoping that I felt like I recovered well enough, and a lot of it will just come from the experience and learning. So other than that, I thought it went pretty well. There was a couple occasions where the kids were not as involved when I was trying to teach them the proper technique for holding a racket. There was some of that where they weren't as interested as when they just kind of wanted to play. But mostly overall, I think it went well. They seemed to enjoy themselves by the end of it.